Hello everybody, have you got your wands ready? It is time for a Worldedit tutorial on painting terrain. This is something you guys have asked for quite a lot. And for those of you who are skeptics and don't like Worldedit very much, and you prefer the Go paints and the voxel, don't worry. I know they exist, I use them, but not a lot of people have access to those. A lot of people depend a lot on the fact that Worldedit is a mod. So we're going to paint some terrain with Worldedit. And we're going to have fun doing it. So, I've set up these squares here for us, and we're going to do 4 different techniques of painting terrain with Worldedit. Now, one that I'm not going to go over, that I will mention, because I've mentioned it in other videos, is this one. You know, the one where we can do this. Be our sphere, 41. Let's do a size of 5, and then we mask 1, and then we can paint the terrain like that. Yeah, that's good. That's fun, but what if you have a massive piece of terrain? Are you gonna do that for a piece of terrain that's like 2,000 by 2,000 blocks? You're crazy. Let's do something with this. So, I have this pattern right here. Just a flat wall that I painted with some crazy different things. Isn't it just a masterpiece of what I've done with the blocks? I've just chose kind of a simple gradient here with the granite, the jungle wood, and the dirt, and then threw in some greens. Just looks kind of trainy, and I'm going to copy this. So I selected the whole thing and copied it. Now we're going to go over here to our mountain that I've created. Okay, now take this with a grain of salt, because this is a painting tutorial and not a terrain tutorial, so I didn't do much with the actual terrain. I'm a little lazy, okay guys? I just want to get videos out and not spend 3 hours making a mountain while doing it. Alright, so let's do this. So now that I have my mountain selected and I have my terrain copied to my clipboard, I'm going to replace this mountain with this terrain. And I'm going to use the replace command to do that. So I'm going to do / replace and then 1. The 1 is the ID of the stone. If you're using something else, then you need to use that ID. And then we go #copy. And look at us go. Our terrain has become the same color as our gorgeous painting right here. Now, obviously, this is a very, very, very customizable technique. You could do anything. You could put a pixel art of your face right here and paste it into a mountain. And I don't know how that would work, but you could do it. Whatever you guys want to paint and shove onto a mountain, it'll work. You can do it, I promise. Maybe not your own face, though. That might not look as good. Anyways, on to the next technique. Okay, guys, next up we're going to be working with some angles on this terrain you see behind me. I know, angles. You thought you were out of school, right? Yeah, no. Not the case. They're popping up in Minecraft. You need them. So, I'm going to select this terrain right here. This beautiful gold terrain that I've created. Now that I've got that selected, I want to replace, let's say, the top layers with some grass, because that'll look good. I just want to do it all in one click. Well, I could do that. I'm going to replace an angle. I'm going to replace the angle from 0 degrees to 55 degrees with grass, which is not 4, it's 2. And here we go. So pretty much all of the top layers of our little terrain here are now grass. Everything from angle 0 degrees to 55 degrees has been affected. Now we're going to do this to paint the rest of it. So now let's Gmask this time instead of replace. This works both ways. Whichever way you want to do it. I'm going to show both. So now we're going to Gmask 0 degrees to 65 degrees. So now that I have that mask set, we need to pick a block color. So what block do we want to do? You know what? Let's do granite. Actually, let's do dirt, because we just did replace 41, 3. So what the Gmask does is it masks everything that's on that angle. So it doesn't let me affect anything that is not on those angles. And this is the effect we get. And now we can go a little larger. Let's maybe Gmask 0 degrees to 85 degrees. And you can change both of these. You don't have to have a 0 degrees there. You could have 10 degrees to 85 degrees. I didn't test this one, so I don't know how it's going to work out. But we're going to try it. Obviously, this is a lot of trial and error commands for me. I don't always know it right away for my terrain, what I'm going to want to use. So yeah, that got pretty much everything, but I actually kind of like the look of that. That's kind of nice. I could touch this up a little bit, but yeah, that turned out nice. So that was Gmasking angles and replacing angles. And that is a really, really easy way to do terrain. Okay guys, one more thing I want to do with this terrain is talk to you guys about the greater than and less than symbols. Yeah, that's right. These guys, I can make a little face with them. I'm sorry I'm making you guys remember this. I know. Not what you wanted today, but it's really easy actually. So what we're going to do is we selected our terrain and I took off my Gmask. So now I'm going to replace everything above grass, just 2, to be grass. 31, 1, and maybe some air. And you know what? Let's do a flower. Look at that. That's so easy. One command and we've got grass and flowers everywhere. And it's not too bad because I've added in air, and you could add in percents. Whatever you want to do to customize this, you can do it. Look at this beautiful flowery meadow we've just created. And the exact same works if you want to place things below grass. So if I wanted to do everything below grass, I would just switch it around and do the other angle, which is this way. And I'm not going to type that in right now because I don't want my grass to go below my grass. That's not ideal. I could do the same thing with dirt here. So let's say above all of these dirt blocks on the end here, maybe I want those to be, maybe I want them to be leaves. So we go above 3 and we go 18. Whoa, look at this. Now, only the dirt blocks have a leaf block above them. That gives a pretty cool effect. It's almost like my ledges are bordered with leaves. I like that. Okay, let's move on to our next tool. Okay guys, have you ever found yourselves in a situation where you need a pattern repeated over and over and over, like a tile floor, a sidewalk, or a roadway, something like that? Well, I certainly have, and so I use the pattern brush for it. All I'm going to do is select this little pattern right here, which I already had selected, and I'm going to stand next to it and copy it. Now I'm going to attach that to my brush. So I'm going to do //br sphere, and we're going to use our hashtag copy again. And then a radius. I'm going to use a radius of 20 just because this is a fairly big area that I want to cover. You could use a massive radius and just cover the whole thing at once if you wanted to do that, but you know, I don't want to lag myself too much. Now I'm going to mask this to my flooring, which is wool. And I can click and wow, look at this pattern. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. A tile floor. Perfectly repeated. So this is very, very useful for building structures with like flooring. It's even useful in terrain in some senses, in a little bit flatter terrain when you want maybe some different creepy patterns along. I don't know. There's a lot of different situations where you could use this in both terrain and in structures, and definitely in organics. Let's do one with the glazed terracotta just for fun. I'm going to select it again, copy, BR sphere, hashtag copy, and let's do a bigger size this time. And we're going to mask it to 19 for our sponge right here. Wow. Look at that pattern. That's a little bit too much glazed terracotta for me, but it looks fantastic, and I'm sure it would look great in a build. Wow. All right. We've got one more method set up for you guys. Let's do it. Alright guys, so some of you have asked me about colors in terraforming a little bit, and color gradients in particular. So I set up some examples here of different color gradients, and these kind of all flow into each other if you really think about it. Like you could kind of go from the bone and skip over to this one right here and go into that gradient, and you can go from this gradient to this gradient, and you can go from this gradient to this gradient right here, and you can go from this one to that one, or this one to this one, and you could fade this one into the blues, and you could go to green, and they all blend together. And I recommend if you're not good with colors, just get a color wheel or Google one online, and that'll really help you out a lot, I feel, getting different colors matching together the way you want them. But the reason I've set up these gradients is that I am going to show you guys the gradient brush on this last bit of terrain here. So the first thing we need is a sphere. So BR sphere, and we're going to do a lot of air in this. 60% air, 0, and we're going to do 40, no, that's not, 40%, 57, and we'll do a size of 9. And we're going to pop that right there. That's a little big for our terrain, actually. Let's reduce that just a little bit. It is the size that I would use on normal terrain, but because the terrain I've created is so tiny, I don't really want to use a massive gradient brush. I'm going to go down to 6. There we go. That should be perfect for what we need. So now I'm going to line up a gradient in this. And there's lots of different ways you could do this. You could do it on an angle. You could do it darker to lighter, lighter to darker, angle this way, angle that way, all kinds of different angles. Or you could just do like splotches of color throughout it. Whatever you want to do, you set up your ball that way. I'm going to set up mine right now. So to set up my ball, I'm going to be using the cylinder command. So what I'm doing is making a brush cylinder and then my block, and then the radius is going to be 6 because that's what I use, and a height of 1. And I'm going to use my lighter color on the top. Whoops. I forgot to mask. What a noob. Mask 57. And just do the 2 top layers with that. Perfect. And I just keep doing that until I'm happy with my result. I'm actually going to do a bigger radius right here. Oh my goodness. I've been using voxel so much that I keep forgetting every time you need to make a brush, you have to mask it again. I'm a noob. There we go. So I'm just doing a straight down one, obviously. You can do whatever you want, but I decided to go for a more basic one for the purposes of this demonstration. I will eventually remember to mask. Okay guys, so now that I've set up my gradient ball, all I'm going to do is select it and copy it. Oh, wait, I missed a layer. Hang on. BR, cylinder, 251, 7, 9, mask, 7. I got this. I got this. Oh yeah. All done. So you want to make sure there's no diamond in that, and there is a little bit of diamond there. I'm going to actually replace that by hand. Yeah, so now there's for sure no diamond left in our sphere. So, did I already select it? No. Pose 1. And pose 2. Doesn't matter how much air you select here because we're going to get rid of the air. Now we're going to come up close to it and / copy. BR, clipboard, -A. Select. Gives us a brush of our clipboard. And it gets rid of air, and now all we have to do is mask our terrain, which is 41. I'm going to first show you on this wall what this actually looks like when we're painting along. You can kind of see the effect that it gives. Really, really nice effect. We can come across here and drag down for the darker colors. Come across here and we drag up for the lighter colors. Oh, it's just such a nice brush, and you can do so much with this. So I'm going to show you on our terrain now what that looks like. So if we go right here, we obviously want our lighter colors to be on the top side. So we're dragging up for that. And underneath here, we want to have our darker colors coming along here. And back up with our lights. Just a gorgeous effect that gives. I'm going to do that along here as well. Just to demonstrate what this brush can do. Obviously, there are better gradients that you can do than the one that I chose. Chose kind of a weird pink one. You choose some more brown ones or green ones, more typical for what people would use in terrain, I would say. And you'll probably get an effect that you like a little bit more. I love these colors. So I can go all along the top here, and all we're doing right now is we're just getting the top of that sphere right there. We're not getting any of the bottom, and we drag up and we get a little bit more of the bottom, and this is just amazing for being able to shade this. So when we want some darker colors here, we come up here and we just drag down And we come drag back up, and when we're dragging up, we're getting the lighter colors. I adore the effect that gives. Obviously, it doesn't look great with all the gold blocks in it right now, but when you're properly doing terrain, you won't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, that is it for this video. I believe if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want to see more tutorials. If you guys have any tutorials on Worldedit or Voxel or just building in general that you want to see, please let me know. I'm always open to suggestions. This video right here was actually a suggestion, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!